After I had that experience of the place beyond infinity, of unity and oneness and wholeness and expansion to the point of total non knowing myself as I, whatever we call this experience. I went to sleep that night and I woke up several times feeling fear. And this is unusual for me. What I understand and know to be true from the ascension work that I do is that each time we ascend our frequency and anchor that frequency into the body, everything in the way of that frequency holding in being and expressing through the body is it must go, it must be released. And so it's not uncommon to have something come up, fear, anger, upset, agitation, anxiety, whatever it is. And so this is just a natural process that was happening. However, it was really disconcerting to go from such pure bliss state to this night of bumping up and brushing up against deep fear. And so this happened several times. And then I had this experience where I woke up and the moonlight, it was full moon on October 31st, and the moonlight came through the window next to my bed. I don't know how this happened. I was sound asleep and it was 1 a.m. and the moonlight came in and I felt it caress my body. It caressed my cheek and my shoulder, and I woke and I knew it was the moonlight. I'm like, oh, the moon is beckoning me. And I looked and I saw the window with the shades closed. The shades were closed, but I looked out and I could see the moonlight coming in. And so I went outside and walked to it's upstairs. So I walked down to the pool area and there were lounge chairs, and I laid in a lounge chair looking up at the full moon and Venus with really beautiful clouds moving very slowly by. And I had the experience of releasing this fear. And what it was the fear of being human, the fear of incarnating as a human being was what I was processing through. And how I saw it, I sat up and I could see a layer. It was like two layers of beingness. And one was the lower frequency of fear, being afraid. And the upper layer was the divine, the layer of breakthrough, breaking through the fear of being human. And I just I asked divinity to allow me to release the fear and feel whatever I needed to feel, to courageously face it and move beyond was my greatest desire and commitment in that moment. And I was afraid of, I don't even know, I don't even have a concept of what I was afraid of. But as I confronted that fear, there was a layer of terror, literally just terror that I experienced in my body. And I allowed myself to feel it. I allowed myself to experience it. And I allowed myself to lean into it even deeper. And then there was a burst. It was like a burst through into the light, and this dark terror broke. It just broke open, and I was filled again with the light. And it felt like birthing into the divine light in the realm of the purity. And I was filled with that, and my heart was filled with purity and just refreshed and cleared. I knew I'd cleared something massive, not just for me and my being, but for humanity. I cleared a deep seated fear of incarnating as a human being, separating from the divine and coming into incarnation in a body. And from this perspective of divinity, That can be a very scary concept, to come into such a density that we forget the truth of our divinity. So, just like we're afraid when we're in these bodies, we have a fear of dying because we'll forget who we are. When we come into these bodies, it's the same. This is the death. The incarnation to the divine is the death of remembering the totality of being. And so I was experiencing both, the both experiences of fear and breaking through them and being courageous. And then I just felt newborn. As I broke through that layer of fear, I just felt like a newborn baby. And I laid under the moonlight and looked up at Venus and the clouds going by. And I just felt so renewed. And I'm in Florida, so the weather was beautiful. And there was a breeze and the trees were whispering to me, and I just felt the trees became then the wind and the trees and the sounds became my shaman whispering me back. And like that, the shaman's rattle, and that just allowed me to embody myself more, to embody the divine frequencies more, to expand the container that I am, to hold more light, to hold more ascension frequencies, to hold the essence of divinity within this expression of being human. So that was my very beautiful, terrifying, powerful rebirth experience under the full moon of Halloween 2020. And I know that this is available to all who desire to expand, to embody, to do this work. It takes courage to face yourself on these levels. And I certainly do recommend having a shamanic guide if you're doing these types of things. And I've been practicing shamanism for 30 years, and I still choose to do this work with a shamanic guide when I regularly, at least a few times a year, because it's helpful for someone to be holding space for you. It's helpful for another being to allow me to go so deeply beyond self that I lose myself, and then help me return in a higher way, and clear those layers of self doubt, and clear those layers of fear, and clear the shadow that was in the way of me being there already. And each level comes with this type of rebirthing. And I know that this is what's possible for all humanity now. The ascension frequencies are more present than ever. We have more guides, helpers, and angelic beings present to assist us in this process for anyone who chooses. So I really hope that you are inspired by my sharing of this experience, and I would love to have you let me know how this lands. Leave me a comment. Share with me, if you've had similar experiences, or if you're working toward that, and I will support you in whatever way I can. That's it for now. I appreciate you. I love you. Namaste.